Okay, good morning. So check this out. We've got quite a reaction. If you look on the bottom, you can see that our iron nails are still there. And we've got quite a lot of orange precipitate. So just quickly, you can make a lot of observations with your eyes. And those are called qualitative observations because they're based on our senses. So let's record our qualitative observations in our qualitative data chart. So you're going to describe the nails, the solution, anything else before the reaction, during the reaction, which is today, and then after the reaction when the precipitate's dried. So just take a look and describe what you see here on your qualitative observation chart. Make sure you put a table on it, okay? All right, now the quantitative part is going to be the actual mass of the nails after the reaction to see if they lost mass, and the mass of the precipitate, right? That's quantitative data. And then we'll be using that quantitative data with stoichiometry to figure out, are those iron nails producing Fe2 or Fe3 plus ions with the copper, okay? All right. Well, it wouldn't be much good to mask the nails today because they're full of, they've got liquid on them. So what we're going to do is we're going to rub off all the precipitate with a rubber policeman. Yes, a rubber policeman. And we're going to rub off all the precipitate, wash these nails, and set them to dry for a day. Okay, so take a look at that nail. It's got some precipitate on it. So I'm going to wash it a bit with distilled water. Oh, it's coming off nicely. And I'm just going to look at it, make sure I'm happy. Oh, it looks really clean, actually. A little surprised by that. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with that. I've rubbed it off. I've rinsed it. I'm going to put it on my paper towel with my name and date on it, and I'm going to dry that so all the liquid will evaporate and we can get a mass on that tomorrow. I'm going to wash this one off. So washing into the beaker because there's little bits of precipitate on here that we want to collect in our filter apparatus. Yeah, that looks clean too. So I can see a little bit of copper. So I'm just going to rub it off with my rubber policeman. I'm going to stick that in there so I don't lose any of the precipitate. This is a quantitative thing, so you want to be careful to collect all your precipitate. All right, so there's the two nails. So we'll set those to dry until tomorrow, where we'll take their mass and see if they've lost some mass. Now our second goal is to get all of this stuff, all of the precipitate, the iron chloride. Okay, no, that's not iron chloride, but anyway. The precipitate. Here's a filter paper. So we're going to filter the solution and collect the precipitate on the inside. When you're finished, it's going to look something like this. Okay, so we're going to be collecting all of that, and then we're going to lay that out and dry it and mask it. So what you need to do is you need to mask of the filter paper before the experiment starts. So we're going to put this in our quantitative data table. So quantitative has things to do with measurements. So we've got the mass of the powder of copper chloride. We made the solution. The initial mass of the iron nail. Tomorrow, once the nails have dried, we'll have a final mass. And now I'm going to measure the filter paper mass. Because once you get a precipitate on it like this, to be able to calculate the precipitate value, you take the filter paper and the solid, and then just subtract the filter paper. All right, so let's take a quick mass of this paper. Let's tear the scale. What do we got there? Miss Sapino, what do you got there?
1.23.
1.23. All right. And then if you take a look here, we're going to set up a filtering apparatus. So you'll use this a few times in your chemistry life. And so please read page 802, and it'll tell you how to properly filter. You can see how you're going to fold. You're going to take a filter paper, you're going to fold it in half to make a half moon and then a quarter moon. Right, and we're going to put that in a funnel, and we're going to run this through there and hopefully collect all the precipitate. All right, so here's your filter paper. Fold it in half, and then in half again. Okay, and then you have to be careful when you open it up so that it's going to catch your precipitate. So open it up in the middle so that it's going to run through there. Okay. Here's my filter funnel. Here's my waste beaker to collect my filtrate. All the drippings is called a filtrate. Now to get the filter paper to stick nicely, just run a stream of distilled water through in your funnel there, and then it'll stick the filter paper on. All right. Now if I'm looking at this, I can see there's a lot of precipitate on the sides. So I'm just going to clean this beaker a little bit, try and get all that off. Okay. And then I'm going to use a stirring rod or a rubber policeman to guide the solution into the filter apparatus. Trying to get all the big bits. Perfect. So it's just like in the kitchen, you're using a spatula to get every last bit of the batter onto the pan, into the pan. That's what we're doing here. We're going to try and get all of this solid into our filtration apparatus. Okay, and you can see there's a lot left on my stirring rod or my rubber policeman and in the beaker. So you're just going to be careful to use distilled water and try and collect it all. So you want to be a little careful not to put too much distilled water through the apparatus, simply because it'll take a time, not because it's going to change your results. But every time you add solution or volume, it's going to take time to drip through the filter. All right. So just cleaning all of the materials to make sure you get every last mole of precipitate. So you might clean out the beaker a couple of times until you're satisfied that you've got every last mole, because you want to have a high percentage yield, right? You want to have your theoretical and your actual match as closely as possible. Okay, now if you take a look at the beaker, you can see that there's a orange ring around. So that's unfortunate. It's probably because we had this sitting out for the weekend. So it sat longer than yours will, because yours will just be overnight. But so that's a good source of error. We've lost some precipitate on the ring here. I would have to put acid in there or something to get that off and then throw it through here. But I'm just going to take that as a source of error. Negligible source of error. All right, so now it's going to drip, drip, drip. It's kind of like making a good coffee. Slow. And this will take a while, so you're welcome to go to your desk and, sit down and maybe make all your data recorded in the data table, do some work at your desk, and then come back. And when you come back, you're going to wash it a little bit. You're going to go around the top of the filter paper and try and, with the water, try and get everything into the center of the funnel. Okay? Another thing we're going to do is we're going to wash it with 15 mils of hydrochloric acid. This is 1 molar hydrochloric acid, so it's pretty serious. So you want to be careful with this acid, please. I will definitely put my goggles on. Of course, they should have been on the whole time. All right. So when it gets down, and it's maybe down to about a quarter of the volume, maybe even it'd be better when it's absolutely there's no liquid left to wash it with the acid. So the acid wash is just picking up any impurities that are sticking on the precipitate, and we'll put them into the filtration. Okay, so just imagine it's down low, and you can pour in your 15 mils of acid in a circular motion, trying to get the precipitate into the middle. Okay, so that's an acid wash. And then after that, you're going to rinse it a couple times with distilled water. So you can measure distilled water to do 3 10-mil rinses, or you can just legally use distilled water this way. Sometimes it depends how much time you have, because it's a little bit of a slow process. Okay, so drip, 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 wash with acid, wash with distilled water. Okay, near the end, you'll be like, oh, great. When it's finished and the filtrate is all dripped through, what you're going to do is you're going to take out your filter paper, okay, and you're going to unfold it to dry on a piece of paper towel. Okay, so you're just gonna unfold it like this. And you've got your name and your date on your towel, and you're gonna leave it there to dry. All right, and that's gonna dry overnight, and then hopefully all of the solution and any water has evaporated, and we can get a good mass on this, which, of course, you'll put here. Okay, so then the fun begins, because now you're gonna take your mass and you're gonna do some stoichiometry, and you will solve the puzzle. Iron 2 or iron 3?